This city took my love from me, but I'm plunging it into insanity! You don't have any whiskey, do you? No. Welcome to Legends of Gotham, where we talk about Fox's hit series Gotham, set in the world of Batman. I'm Bill Meeks.
And I'm Anne-Marie DeSimone, and I want that whiskey.
Yeah, I'd like some whiskey, too.
Bring it!
Not the Red Queen, though.
No.
After an hour, it doesn't go so well for you.
Not so good. Fries your brain.
But I did appreciate that their remedy was the same as if someone has too much LSD, like you hear about happening in the 60s. Give them some orange juice after you get them
and an
down.
IV. Yeah. But how did he know he was on, well, I guess the Red Queen, but how did he know what the Red Queen from the shady guy in Babs' apartment / the Sirens Club?
Well, Mario isn't exactly from a non-shady family, you know. His dad might have had some hanging around the house. But, you know, we're already talking about the episode.
I had questions.
We all have questions. But we'll get talking about the episode properly in just a second. But first, we wanted to let you guys know. Oh, by the way, we're recording this Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. EST at live.universebox.com with all of our lovely chatters. We have right now just before Oracle and Cobble Potteries, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more people popping in there as we continue. But next week, because I work in news and it's election day. Yeah, election night. We're not going to be recording at the usual time, but this is kind of an opportunity for you. If you don't have a chance to, if you can't make it Tuesday nights or Wednesday nights, which we've moved to once or twice, we're actually going to be recording the episode Tuesday during the day. In the morning, sometime before noon. We'll make sure to make that announcement well in advance, like a day or two in advance. But
probably during Gotham Monday, we'll let you know when we're going to be recording.
Yeah, but it'll probably be like 9 a.m. Eastern time or something like that. At live.universebox.com is where you can join the chat. So if you're a day person and you have nothing to do during the day and you're always like, man, I wish I could make it in there for Gotham. Hey.
Gotham.
Next week's your week. Gotham. This week's episode, I consider it possibly to be maybe the best episode of Gotham ever.
Oh.
Just because it touched back on so much that they set up in the pilot. But I have a lot to talk about, and I'm sure you do too, Anne-Marie. Why don't you go ahead and start talking with the riddling, rhyming episode summary?
Who would love a madman like Ed? Someone who looks like the gal he made dead. Will Bruce burn Selina soufflé? His butler might try to scare her away. Who has Barbara become? Jim's conscious bellhop. Who can save him from her psycho hell drop? Will Jim deal with his baggage or get stuck with Miss Kean? Let's all take a whiff of tonight's Red Queen.
Red Queen!
Red Queen.
A red queen, I like that. Red queen, come back to me. Something like that. But Anne-Marie, what'd you think of this episode?
I thought this was a pretty darn good episode.
It was fantastical.
It almost, in a sense, was like 2 episodes.
Yes.
It felt very split to me.
Well, you know, half of the episode taking place in someone's head. That's going to happen.
Right.
But over in the chat room before Oracle says it was very trippy. That's to be sure. It was kind of fear and loathing in Gotham City for sure.
Nice. So yeah, it was a good time.
The bats, which is actually from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, right at the beginning.
I've never seen it.
When they pick up Spider-Man on the side of the road, they see all bats. The bats. Johnny Depp, my best Johnny Depp impression, which isn't very good.
That was kind of awful.
But, I really enjoyed it, too. Like I said, I think it might be the best episode of the series. And part of the reason is they touch back on a lot of stuff they introduced in the pilot episode while deconstructing Jim Gordon. Now, first of all, during his whole trip thing, I love the conceit of the elevator descending through multiple levels of Jim's baggage. Level 1, Bruce Wayne. Level 2, Lee. Level 3, your poppy. It was also, I really enjoyed the callback they had to his time in the army and the resulting PTSD, which was a big part of his character in the first season.
First couple episodes.
What it was,
especially that one with the
with the crazy running camera and stuff. But
thank you for getting rid of that.
We really haven't heard much about it since season 1, maybe season 2 a little bit, because he had a similar thing when he was when he shot that guy. Yeah, if you remember that gangster.
I do.
But we haven't really touched back on that too much. But Well, obviously it's not that important because it's just the first layer
Right.
of Jim's baggage.
I think all the layers were pretty important there.
Definitely,
Pretty
definitely.
important, like
but,
an onion.
But kind of our window in to that war scene was young Bruce Wayne confronting Jim in the GCPD
Yeah.
with the Jim Gordon mask on. Now I was wondering, why was Bruce wearing a Jim Gordon mask, and why were Martha's pearls pulled from Jim's chest? I kind of read it as Jim subconsciously sees the hero Bruce is going to become, and wishes he had that drive. He wants to be the hero.
He wants to be Bruce Wayne.
He doesn't want to be Bruce Wayne. He wants to be a hero like he can tell Bruce Wayne is going to be, I think.
Okay.
Plus, he definitely still has some. Hold on, let me adjust your mic here.
Hello, let me. Oh, there I am.
Yeah, but
I'm here.
Plus, he definitely has some guilt, I think, from not
very
solving
much.
that case to begin with.
I have more on that.
So that weighs on him a lot too, which is probably part of the reason Bruce was there. And the dead cops kind of symbolize the failed cases and things like that. And then we move on to the sitcom, which is very obviously the life that Jim wants but won't allow himself to have. It also reminded me a lot of I don't know if you're familiar with the musical Little Shop of Horrors, but there's this song "Somewhere That's Green," which is kind of what's her name, Audrey. From Little Shop of Horrors, kind of imagining what life would be like with Seymour out in the suburbs, living that kind of Donna Reed lifestyle. And it felt very much like that.
It was definitely Donna Reed, that's for sure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed, too, like you saw the stage lights click on behind him, and then you never see them again, and it's just like sitcom angles. Really, really well shot, really well done. And then finally, the ghost of his father comes back to haunt him. And I think it's because he saw his dad as a true hero, and he's afraid that he'll never live up to that example.
Okay.
Now, at the end of the episode, Jim is ready to defend while he breathes, as the Gordon motto goes, and finally becomes a cop again after I think almost a full season.
Yeah, the better part of a season.
Yeah, but I think he'll quickly find that as limiting as he did before. One of the reasons he stopped being a cop was because he found that the cops were kind of crooked and weak, and he couldn't be as effective as a cop, and that's why he didn't go back to it for so long too. But after this episode, I definitely feel, because we heard over the summer from Ben McKenzie that Jim Gordon would be taking on the identity of a DC Comics character.
We did.
So I definitely feel like seeing Jim as a masked vigilante later on the season is a lot more likely now, that he's going to step in and embrace that hero role and become the Bruce Wayne sort of of the show for a little bit. Before Oracle over in the chat room says stabby bellhop. We'll get to that, I'm sure.
Oh, very much.
That was also some class A stuff. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. But Anne-Marie, you wanted to talk about this sort of mad trip too, right?
Right. I've remained quiet with Bill's points, which doesn't usually happen. So
because you have your own
I have
points.
my own interpretation that I've dubbed "Love in an Elevator." So
Love in an elevator.
Yeah. We'll just stop there. Okay, so everything that happens in here is so important because, as Babs points out, every bit of the hallucination is happening in his head, and he has some level of control over it while it's happening because he's able to change her outfit like that.
Yeah.
So let's just go into it remembering that. So stop number 1, the GCPD, Bruce, and the Penguin. 3 things or people that have affected his love of Gotham and of himself over the past 3 seasons. 1, he didn't live up to his personal expectations as a police officer. The only understandable quote we get from Penguin is "Never leave your unit behind." And he's left the GCPD behind, and now they're leaving him behind by not letting him go on the missions without being a part of the GCPD. So we have that.
I like that.
Indicating that by leaving the force, he left his people. So there's that. 2.
Not to mention all the cops that have been killed in the GCPD headquarters.
Yeah, we're just gonna Well, I mean, and if you looked at the people that were down there was a lot of soldiers, which, okay, you were in war, that makes sense. A lot of cops, which we've seen a lot of cops die for various reasons. Thank you, Jim Gordon.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure that the one person was supposed to be Essen.
Oh, okay.
I tried pausing it on my watch through. I was like, they should have done better, but I think that's who it was supposed to be by the way that they were laid out. So, and yes, that was partially his fault.
Yeah.
So there's that. Okay, 2, he wasn't able to solve the Wayne murders, and Bruce relieved him even of the task of trying to solve the Wayne murders. So that explains why
he
Bruce
kind of
is there.
neutered him in a way.
He was like, and you're done. So that's pretty rough. And his interactions with Penguin caused him to blur his own personal morality line further than Jim would have ever pushed it. Even, being a soldier where you already have to have, or a police officer where you do have to have occasionally the blurry line.
Yeah.
You got to make a rapid decision. But Penguin really made that not so clear. Stop number 2, his love for Lee. So he realized just a little too late that Jim lost his chance for now. I think that this hallucination will reinvigorate his fight to win her back from Mario. Because as strong as their relationship is, I don't know if it's quite as strong as what Jim and Lee have or had. Yeah. Obviously, both Lee and Mario care about Jim Gordon on some level. Like, sorry, Mario, you're not just a doctor. Like, you're not doing it just because your daddy probably said you need to take care of Jim Gordon.
Yeah, because after
they're family friends.
After the whole jealous thing too, and the whole like forced kiss. Hey, it's my girl.
Yeah.
And then Mario goes ahead and saves Jim. Like,
Yeah.
A less scrupulous man, which I kind of think Mario might be, probably would have let Jim die unless there was another reason to keep him alive.
Right,
Yeah.
and I think it does have to do with Falcone. I don't think we've seen the last of him this season.
Oh, no.
Stop number 3, his love for his dad and his family. Okay, because of the other 2 stops, Jim feels that he has let his dad down, just in the way he's treated, his responsibilities at the GCPD, probably the fact that he didn't fight for his love and do everything he could for Lee. So he feels like a failure. What's he so afraid of failing? Everyone, he's afraid of failing, okay? He's a normal human. This time he has with his dad reminds him of what he wanted to be when he was a kid. He wanted to be his dad. He wanted to be that savior, if you will, by doing that. And it doesn't really hurt that his dad's parting words to him are, "I'm proud of you, Jimmy." So, like, these are the things that reinvigorate him, and those are what make him go back and be like, all right, Barnes, I'm back. And it's crazy that Barnes doesn't question, but we have more on that later, too.
Yeah, he kind of drills down through his psyche and confronts all of his fears head on and comes out a hero again.
Right. Like, what is he so afraid of? Well, here it is. Step 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, where, I said deconstructing Jim Gordon, where I think that kind of started last season when Hugo Strange put him through that whole, like, I am God kind of thing.
Right. This poor man, his brain has to already be fried. He's been on how many trips?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Definitely, but it was really great. A culmination of all sorts of stuff from season 1, like the PTSD stuff, the dead dad stuff, the in league with Penguin, Bruce. Like it was a wonderful, wonderful episode for fans of Gotham who have been with it since the beginning to finally kind of see a lot of this stuff pay off.
Right.
For sure. But something else that paid off this week was Isabella a little bit, and I titled this section "Isabella: A Life in Books." Now, I thought it was interesting how much Isabella's backstory was centered around books. She's obsessed with books. She's an expert. She even tells Ed at the end of the episode that she's lived her whole life in the pages of books.
I believe it.
Now, I was a little bit dubious last week about her being a revived Kringle, just because of decomposition and chopped body parts and stuff like that. But after this week, I'm starting to support that theory a little bit more. The way she feels an instant attraction to Ed and forgives his foibles speaks to a history. Like there's some sort of emotional memory there within her, I think.
Oh, like I said, the dissolved. Nope, not about. Never mind. Continue.
Okay, yeah, but there's some sort of emotional memory of Ed and what they meant to each other there.
Right.
Also, the fact that she basically admits that all she knows is books sort of supports my theory from last week that she's living a life given to her by Dr. Strange, who took the stories for his monsters from books at Ed's recommendation, by the way. So this might be Ed.
This was a thank you.
It could have been a thank you. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Ooh.
That would be nice. Also, over in the chat room, before Oracle says, is Isabella going to be the bookworm or a prototype of Barbara Gordon? That could be interesting for sure.
There's, you got to have a bookworm.
Definitely. Barbara Gordon, the daughter of Jim Gordon, aka Batgirl, she was a librarian. So. Yes.
That I actually
So there's a history there.
This I know.
Maybe this will be the library that she becomes Barbara Gordon becomes a librarian at later in life. But I definitely feel either way, Ed and Penguin are definitely being set up here, perhaps by the Court of Owls themselves, since they have an interest in Pinky Pants now, which I have more on later. But Ed seems to be settling down thanks to Isabella's influence in the past 24 hours or whatever. 12. So theory, I think Penguin is going to end up killing Isabella to get Ed to himself, causing Ed to finally fully break out as the Riddler once he finds out the Penguin killed her. It would be fitting since Ed's unrequited love sent him down the dark path of killing Doherty and everything, and the Penguin's unrequited love would finish the job and finally push him over the edge into full-on Riddler mode.
Nice.
I think that would be a nice synchronicity to the story. Also, I just wanted to shout out Rebecca Johnson, host of Supergirl Radio, real quick, who pointed out on Twitter the similarities between Isabella, a blonde doppelganger of a previous love, and Carlotta Valdez from the Hitchcock movie Vertigo. Same kind of thing going on there.
Okay.
That's all I'll say for now. But if you don't know Vertigo, either go watch it or listen to the Harvey Danger song Carlotta Valdez, which is basically a plot summary of the movie.
I'm in for the song.
Okay, so, as long as we're on Penguin and Ed, you wanted to talk a little bit about Penguin's reaction to Ed, right?
Right. Penguin had some very strong reactions to, everything Ed, as he has all season. Excuse me. So, would he really be trying to file a missing persons report at 6 a.m. on the phone? The man has a few more connections. A, he's the mayor, and B, he's the mob boss of the town. So, there's some other outlets. Maybe he doesn't know how to contact them without his right-hand man, Ed. So that just seemed a little odd. I know that he's upset that he didn't come home, but you're not going to call the police department, file a missing persons.
Yeah.
The heartbreak that he feels when Ed talks about meeting someone and falling in love is devastating. You feel so bad for Penguin because of this. It's like when you're brave in middle school and you're brave enough to tell your crush that you like them and they just go and laugh in your face. Yeah. That's how heartbreaking it is. Even as a viewer to see that, I was just like, oh, poor Pinky Pants. This is you can see him just crush.
Yeah, I felt like that whole scenario, that whole opening scene, that's like a romantic's worst nightmare, that they finally work up the courage to confess their love to somebody, and they get delayed somehow by a couple hours, and then they show up and they're like, I met someone else, I'm completely in love, and you're like, man, I missed it by that much. Yeah, it's just I don't know, back in my dating days, back in my teenagehood, that scenario ran through my head all the time. Oh, she's running 5 minutes late. What if she runs into some other guy and gets married before she gets here, kind of thing.
Oh, 15-year-old Bill.
Yes.
Let's see. I love that he tries to sabotage their relationship by telling Isabella about Ed's time in Arkham for killing someone who looked exactly like her, only to have it backfire. And this actually makes me think more and more that she is a plant from the Court of Owls, because she is not even remotely turned off by the fact that he has murdered someone who looks exactly like her. She even admits that she is scared of him.
And her swan-like neck.
Because Ed likes necks. Ew. So there's that. And however, Mr. Pinky Pants is quite the bragger to a stranger, a.k.a. Catherine, a.k.a. Owl Lady, not Cow Lady, Owl Lady, at dinner. I don't know if I would be quite talking like that to a stranger, especially when you don't know, their affiliations.
Yeah.
On anything.
Because he was
this is just like a woman he's talking to over champagne, and
he's just like, hey, what's up? My name's Pinky Pants. Here's my evil plan.
Right. That's exactly. And so I just thought that was a little odd and a little brazen, but I think he was so excited only to go after his crazy dinner and be devastated again and excuse himself to go to bed.
Over in the chat room, Powell Family says, isn't it ironic?
Don't you
Don't
think?
you think? And Bobby says, nice Get Smart reference, Bill. Thank you. Missed it by that much. Who doesn't like Get Smart? Was Get Smart? No, Get Smart wasn't a Fox show. It was like CBS or something like that.
I have no idea. I know it as a Nick at Night show.
You know what? The revival of Get Smart was on Fox, though, if I remember correctly. They did a revival movie. Yeah. So a little trivia for you. Also, before Oracle in the chat room says we got the first name. We got the first name of the lady in the owl mask, and it's Catherine. Could this be Kate Kane or her mother? I think that's very likely. Kate Kane is a Batwoman in the comic books.
Okay.
And we've discussed her before back in season 2.
Oh, really?
When talking about the founding families of Gotham.
Thank you. Okay.
So yeah, I definitely think she could be a Kane, which you know might give some hints to maybe who the dude in the chair is. Who knows? Maybe it's Bob Kane. Dun, dun, dun. The creator of Batman. But we're going to get back into the main discussion in just one second here. But first, we wanted to tell you a little bit about our Patreon. Now, if you don't know what Patreon is, it's basically a way you can go and support creators whose content you enjoy.
Like us.
Yeah, and versus, charging you $1 an episode or something, we're like, hey, you know what? We're going to make 1 billion podcasts every month.
Feels like it.
And if you want to, you can throw $1 our way every month and get all of the podcasts. And if not, that's cool too. You're still going to get all the podcasts, but you'll get some extra cool bonus stuff if you throw in a little bit of money. First of all, we're working on unlocking certain goals, like we're going to do a podcasting course that you'll get for free.
Yep.
More podcasts, all the way up to a big party here in Orlando with all of our listeners.
We would love to have a giant party.
And there's also individual rewards based on your support level too. For $1, you get a bunch of free stuff, like all my books for free, a bunch of free content. And for $5, you become a member of the $5 Star Patrons Club. $5 Star Patrons Club. Now, this entitles you to a lot of benefits. You save 10% on your car insurance. You become an unofficial member of the Court of Owls, and you get your name read out in every episode of every podcast we do. For the month, you give the $5 of support. If you want to hear your name a few times, give the $5, drop it back to $1 like in a month or something like that.
Don't do that.
Or increase it to 10, whatever you go. Whatever you want to do. But we want to thank our $5 star patrons this month: Becca Baca, Angel, Holly Mac 79, Monica Jones, Other Anne Marie, Sage of Earth, Harry Seidler, Timothy Peters, Robert Cattler, Hope Molinax, Karen Horlatcher, and Jessica Gonzalez. You guys are going to save so much money on your car insurance. And you can too by going to patreon.com/universebox and throwing a couple bucks support our way. If you like our stuff, if you don't, you could do it too as like a weird revenge plot. Get us on your side and then stab us in the back when we're not looking.
Wow.
Also, remember to think outside. Okay, so again, that's patreon.com/universebox. We want to thank all of our patrons so much.
Y'all are awesome.
You guys are the merrymakers and the dreamers of dreams. Okay, but I let's see. There's some chatter over in the chat room here. Let's see. Bobby says, Fox did the revival series with Andy Dick playing his son, Get Smart.
Ah, that's right.
And then before Oracle says, why did Kat stand up Bruce? I think
I might actually have a little on that.
Do you have a little bit on that later?
If not, I have somewhere I can touch on it later.
Like, I didn't pick it up as she was standing him up so much as
she was nervous. She said it. He asked. He's like, "What? You have to be honest with me." And she's like, "This is weird." And he's like, "Yeah, it's weird."
Yeah, and the Powell family backshop, she said that she felt weird, i.e. scared.
I.e. she's a street kid dating a billionaire. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, she's kind of
They're also 15
She's a free spirit, too, You say
a leather-wearing free spirit.
You say 6, I hear 6:30, you know what I mean? Okay, but let's see. So one of the other big points in this episode was the last scene, obviously. It was a big cliffhanger, right? Dude in the chair with the ring. Who really leads the Court of Owls? Now, we've been led to believe that Catherine was the leader of the Court of Owls for so many months now. But we see her reporting back to a man in the shadows at the end of the episode. Now, a lot of people are thinking it's Jim's dad because he wore the same ring that Jim fished out of his box of trinkets there at the end with the motto and everything on there.
Right.
And it has been said that Jim's dad died in a car crash. We learned that last week, which is easy enough to fake.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be shocked shocked if it was Jim's dad. But I have a feeling that, it won't be Jim's dad. I feel that like that's a little misdirection, that it's going to be another member of the Gordon family that
An uncle or something.
Yeah, that we haven't met yet. Some figure that was important to Jim, but not quite as important as dad, and is way more alive than his dad. But what do you think, Anne-Marie? Who do you think the guy in the chair was?
I kind of do think it's Jim's dad.
You do?
I do think it's Jim's dad. Because if TV and movies have taught me anything, it's very easy to switch out people for a car crash to make you think that somebody's dead, but they're really alive living a double life.
Yeah.
Thank you, entertainment.
Yeah, Pal Family says Jim's dad. And then before Oracle says, what if that guy is a Bertinelli? That would be interesting. Helena Bertinelli is the current, or is the Earth 1 version of Huntress, which is another... female mass vigilante in Gotham. On Earth 2, she was Bruce Wayne's daughter, but then when they brought her over to Earth 1, they made her a Bertinelli, which is...
Before Oracle, you definitely live up to your name.
But, it's another... I think it's a founding family of Gotham, either that or a crime family, one or the other. Either way, a lot of connections to the city. Okay. And it would make a lot of sense if they were... somewhere in that Court of Owls mix. But I'm sure we're going to get more of this as it goes on. Pal Family in the chat room says that car crash was so faked. I never thought that Catherine was the leader. She shows her face too much. And Falcone's really respected Jim's dad.
That's true.
Yeah, that is very true.
Falcone would have saved him.
Well, you noticed something about what he said to Jim in the car, too.
Yeah, I was actually scrolling to see if you mentioned that. When Jim and, his dream dad were talking. Now I don't have it in front of me. Oh, Jim would say, you left for court.
Every day.
Which
might be a subtle kind of foreshadowing.
Right. Which I was like, yes, they've already established he was a DA and all that. But could it have just been a little, I don't know, like maybe he had heard him saying something like when he was a child. It's his subconscious is doing this whole thing.
Yeah.
So... his dad's in the court, or the head of the court, or was involved in it. So I think we got a little about that.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there was a lot of evidence pointing to it being Jim's dad, which is what makes me think that maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's not. Maybe that it's just like they're overselling it, so we think that, and then they're going to swerve us again at the end. So, but I do think that ring says to me that it's definitely a member of the Gordon family. Probably not Philip Wayne, like before Oracle in the chat room thinks, and Bobby also doesn't think it's his dad. But I guess we'll see. But one thing's for sure: whoever was in that chair wasn't invited to the founders' dinner. But you wanted to talk a little bit about that, right, Anne-Marie?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so the founders' dinner. This had me all a little. I have questions because y'all are making me learn too much stuff. So, is it truly a dinner to honor Gotham's founding families and Gotham's elite? There were some people missing. Bruce Wayne, I don't know. He's a Wayne, which was a founding family, as we learned from the whole Gallivant shenanigans last season.
Yeah.
Which also leads to Tabby, is technically a descendant of a founding family.
Yeah.
So, they should be there. I don't know. I'm just saying. I thought that was a little odd.
Maybe Bruce was too young, or maybe they
No, Bruce goes to everything.
Maybe they invited him and he was like, sorry, I have a date.
I don't think Alfred would have let that happen. And I mean, I can kind of see the Tabby thing, but I'm just pointing out that they're both descendants of founding families. I know that Penguin couldn't bring Ed because reasons, but I don't think that he would have gone to something like this alone or anywhere alone. It's not what he does. He's really never done it. There's always at least some sort of poorly paid lackey behind him. And, when he's faced with a tough situation with Jervis, he's like, okay, I'll drink the poison.
Well, I definitely felt like this was the kind of event that you have to go and you have to follow the rules, and it's all very prim and proper and like very structured. They did something. I forget. I think it's like the Alfred E. Smith dinner that they do for the presidential candidates a few weeks ago. I think it's something like that.
And I'm sure it is, but it just felt like weird that maybe he didn't have somebody in the background a bodyguard of sorts. He is the mayor. He is also a mob boss. The man needs a bodyguard anywhere he goes.
He has a planner for mayor stuff and mob stuff.
Right. You have to have two planners. But it was just funny because he turns up looking like a bumbling fool, just like Mayor James always did. We always made fun of Mayor James for being like, blah. Yeah. Well, that's exactly what Penguin did as the mayor when faced with a rough situation. So we have that. When Penguin bumped into Jervis at the beginning of the night, did he know who he was?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I feel like as the mayor, he should at least, be able to recognize him from a snapshot, seeing as how the man for at least 2 or 3 weeks has been like terrorizing the town and killing people. The Alice thing is not a small deal. The whole blood thing, like the GCPD would have informed the mayor's office of this blood thing that could be happening. This is too much SVU watching, probably, but I'm just saying. These are things I learned. As the mayor should at least be familiar, this would be another reason for Penguin not to be alone at the event, is this crazy person is out and about. Y'all, food testers. But it also seemed a little odd. Another reason I ask if he knew him was when he comes busting back in with the dudes, Penguin actually seems to recognize him. Now, I don't know if it's just from that bumpin' or maybe with a gun in his hand, he recognizes him as Jervis Tetch.
Yeah.
And not just the catering staff who was a bumbling fool. So there's that. Also, why did Catherine leave? That one,
I don't know.
I'm curious because was she tipped off to the plan? And if so, how and by who? Because when she's talking with Shady, probably Gordon's dad at the end, he says, you left just in time.
Yeah.
As if maybe he thought she was planning to stay and was kind of surprised.
Well, I felt like she had her business that she was there for, just to be we're watching, Penguin, and then, melt off into the shadows.
But just as we said, this is the type of event that is very specific and laid out. Yeah. You're not going to show up for cocktail hour and leave before the appetizer.
Unless you're in one of the higher ups of the,
No, but I think it would have been noticeable.
Society.
I think it would have been noticeable.
Well, I mean, Penguin was starting to press for information when Jervis busted in.
Right. He was pressuring a priest, though.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to get out of him.
But Pal Family over in the chat room says, weren't the Cobblepots one of the founding families in the comics? I think so.
Hold on. I Googled this, but then I started talking, so I'll let you know in a minute. Keep talking.
But and also, were the Van Dals one of the founding families in Gotham?
Yeah, because the hand thing, right? Yeah. The chopping of the hand. And
I don't remember if the Van Dals were there or not. I mean, they're definitely an established family in Gotham. I don't know if they're one of the founding families.
Okay, here's who we got. The 5. The Elliots, the Canes, the Crowns, the Dumas, and the most powerful of them all, the Waynes.
Okay, fair enough.
So that means that Catherine is either an Elliot, a Cane, or a Crown. I feel like Catherine Crown sounds about right.
Yeah, Catherine Crown sounds like a very comic booky name. So. And Pal Family also mentions that it's Ed that would have recognized Jervis. Penguin is busy with Penguin stuff, so that's why he's
busy telling third graders to push people down the stairs.
Yeah, that's why he needs an Ed to keep track of all this other trivia about the town.
Trivia.
But, one thing I really liked about Jervis's plan to attack the Founders Dinner and everything is it calls back to a running theme in Gotham, and that is, attacking the upper class. Jervis decides to take revenge on the city by assaulting the upper class at the Founders Party. Now, this theme, lower classes versus higher classes, striking out against the higher class, showed up a lot in season 1. The episode with the hypnotist comes to mind specifically. But I love that the notion that to get revenge on a city, you must strike at those that control it. And it's a theme that, again, we haven't seen in a long time, kind of rearing its ugly head here in the Mad City era of Gotham, which I love that we're getting all these callbacks.
Yeah. This was definitely an episode of callbacks.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, you wanted to talk a little bit about Barnes' transformation too, right?
Yes. Okay, I told you I was very long-winded this week. So, Barnes' transformation. Every time that Barnes loses his temper and starts to turn, the changes are getting bigger and they're lasting significantly longer. So, since we're hitting the 2 weeks point by the end of this episode where he should be losing all of his regular personality per the rat study and Jim being back on the force, I think that next week there's going to be some big reveals. So, Barnes is looking over his will when Jim shows up, which I thought was a little bit odd. Is he planning to knock himself out, or is he going to have somebody else do it if the transformation just becomes too intense and he becomes, not a good guy? Is this why he lets Jim back on the force so easily? Because he knows that this is somebody he can confide in about the situation because he understands what happens about it. And, maybe Jim can be his guy. Be like, hey, Barnes, because you just got too crazy. And did Jervis's reaction when he caught on to Barnes's transformation set him down a path of preparation? Because, this will looking and stuff didn't happen until after we get Jervis Tetch just going, I'm my sister, blah, after being punched in the face 6 times. So we have that. And will Jervis tell people? If he does, will they believe him? Who will he tell? There are so many things about this transformation that I can't believe haven't come out yet.
That was my thinking, is that, Tetch is going to be the one to reveal Barnes, and it's going to send Barnes over the edge finally into that maybe Solomon Grundy kind of area.
Right. I just thought it was weird that he was looking at his will. Like he was trying to figure out what to do with it. Mm-hmm. So there was that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's thinking, well, if this gets too bad, I could just off myself.
That's what what I kind of think it is. And I think by Jim presenting himself as, hey, let me back on, he's like, I got another set of eyes, so it doesn't have to be him, taking himself out.
Yeah. So. Yeah. See, over in the chat room, and I'm going to be careful how I say this, Area says, don't go to parties in Gotham. That's very much assumed.
Do not go to a party in Gotham.
Before Oracle says, a great amount of the 1966 Batman series had that exact theme, lower class versus higher class. Well, it was an anti-establishment kind of show.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. And Pal Family mentions also Dark Knight Rises. And then to your point, says, when he goes nuts, Harvey will probably become captain and need Jim. Mm-hmm. And then before Oracle says, will he become Grundy on a Monday? For sure, because that's when Gotham airs.
That's happened.
Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about was, kind of birds of a feather. Why has the Court of Owls been watching Penguin? Owls and penguins.
Feathers.
But obviously, since he's mayor now, there's a good reason to have an interest in old Oswald Cobblepot, a.k.a. Pingy Pants. But I get the impression that they've been watching him for a long time. I mean, she even almost says as much. We've been watching you for years.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, were they the ones responsible maybe for him winning the election? Maybe they put him in this position of power to use him later on. Did they have a hand in him taking down Falcone's empire? Possibly. If there's one thing we know, everything that happens in Gotham stems from the Court of Owls. So I think it's pretty likely that they've been sort of guiding Penguin's career path for the past few seasons. Now, at the end, it's implied that the court will soon be judged. There's a judgment coming. Now, who's doing the judging, and how will Penguin help stop it? Why do they need Penguin? I'm thinking due to their close relationship and currently being at odds, I think maybe Jim is the judge, and Penguin is the person who can stop the judge.
Okay.
So I think maybe they're setting them up for the ultimate battle, Penguin versus Jim, which would be kind of cool because we haven't had that yet.
Because they sort of had to become in cahoots, and they had to actually become sort of friends over them, which was part of that blurry line.
Yeah, they've been very uneasy bedfellows for the past few seasons. Yes. So now it's time to go to blows, I think, possibly. Let's see. Let's see here. Pal Family says Falcons for Falcons. Birds.
Feathers.
Everything birds. Okay, you want to wrap up with some quibbles and bits, right?
I have a series of quibbles and bits that they're bits. So there's that Band-Aid on Mario's neck that we're very obviously meant to take notice of.
See, I didn't notice it.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't notice it at all.
Okay, well, I found it very prominent the first and second time. So curious about, because it happens you see it after he's given Jim his IV and he's talking to him about taking his orange juice and getting the heck out of there. So there's that. So I'm curious as to what happened. Maybe somehow they got to him too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Poor Valerie Vale. I hope this is not the last we see of her because I love her.
I don't think it is from what I've heard of spoilers and whatnot, but it might be the last Jim sees of her in his bedroom for sure.
Well, that I think we're all pretty sure about.
I
that
thought
one.
she took it pretty good, considering getting shot in the gut and everything.
What was she gonna do?
She was like, whatever, it's cool, but we're not dating anymore.
No, she probably pretty much already knew beforehand.
Yeah.
I mean, you get in that type of situation. The fact that he didn't want to let her talk to Lee and blah, 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 blah. So she already knew. Babs' outfits, and I feel like there had to be some sort of significance with these, so bear with me. The bellhop, the naughty nurse, the nun, and the martini lovin' in the formal wear. I just feel like I was missing something.
Yeah.
Because everything is so specific and calculated on this show. I was like, I need to point these out because there's a thing there I just am not seeing.
Well, I don't think there was anything necessarily thematic going on. It was the bellhop because of the whole metaphor of the elevator descending through his psyche.
Okay.
And then when he wakes up, it's the naughty nurse because he was knocked out and he's being revived. And what's the opposite of a naughty nurse but a nun? And then the formal wear, I think that was that was during the discussion where they were like, don't you miss who you used to be? So that was kind of
yes, I wanted to actually talk about that too.
Be.
And you know what? I liked the fact that the two of them sort of were like, they both missed, or at least Jim, a part of him does miss his time with Barbara because obviously Barbara's not controlling the Barbara character. He is, and having that whole thing. So I'm still on team Jim and Babs. So I would love to see.
I think it could come back.
I would love to see that revisited in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so Bruce can cook or bake. That's fantastic. Good job, teen boy. Ed is quite the smart cookie. How did he not notice that the sun was coming up while they sat on the stoop? I mean, I get it. Good conversation, all of the infatuation, but 12 hours, man. Somebody had to eat, somebody had to pee.
Because he wasn't asked a riddle about it, I think.
Maybe.
Okay.
I have one more.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
My last one. Y'all, Fish and Strange. They are going to come back in a big way. I don't know what's going to happen, but where are they? They ran off into the woods. I brought this up a few weeks ago, and I let it go. Mm-hmm. But I'm bringing it back.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
Well, I mean, their absence is a presence all its own, And
it isn't for like 1 or 2 weeks, but now we're hitting like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Now their absence is a presence. Because they weren't killed off. We didn't see them actually leave town. We saw them run into the woods. Like they weren't exactly, maybe they're in a cabin. I don't know, but I'd like to know. Yeah. Keep an eye on people in Gotham, y'all.
Before Oracle over in the chat room says, who will be Jim's next romance? And Bobby says Lee. I kind of agree with that.
I kind of don't want to agree with that.
But it's probably going to happen.
I know, but I don't want to.
They'll be back together sooner rather than later. Okay, now it's time to rate the episode using the arbitrary scale. Okay, so out of 47 drops of blood in the wine, how many drops of blood in the wine do you give this episode, Anne-Marie?
I'm going to give it 46.
Why?
Because it was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Do you have any other reasons besides that?
I mean, I just went through 45 minutes of reasons. What do you want from me, man?
Fair enough. And
I didn't have any, my only blah was they missed people at the thing and where's Fish and Strange. So I just have questions about people not being there. Maybe they missed their call time.
Yeah, and you can feel free to weigh in the chat room too. Let's see. As for me, I think I'm going to give it 50. Out of 47 drops of blood in the wine.
Did you say 50?
Yeah.
What?
It was that good.
What?
It was that good.
Okay.
It was like the hash of blood in the wine or something. Super concentrated Gotham awesomeness. And the drug references will continue just because he was tripping the entire episode. But no, I thought it was great. I loved all the callbacks. I loved that. It felt like a payoff in a lot of ways to the pilot episode.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, which is nuts, 3 seasons in. And over in the chat room, before Oracle gives it 42 drops of blood in the wine, Bobby gives it 41 drops of blood in the wine, and Pal Family gives it 45 drops of blood. So not everyone in the chat room liked it as much as we did, but everyone really liked it. Before Oracle goes on, because Kat showed up late for a well-planned date.
That's very true.
And that rhymes, too, so it must be true.
Cat and date?
No, late for a well-planned date.
Okay,
yeah.
Late. There we go.
And Cobble Potteries gave it 39 drops of blood in the wine. And Bobby's
Yeah.
Bobby says 41 because I have begun to hate the Hatter. Well, he's in jail for at least an episode or two, so probably.
Maybe.
I don't know. I actually haven't seen next week's trailer yet.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I put it in thinking I'd get back to it.
Last night was Halloween. Give us a break, guys.
Lots of Reese's Cups.
Oh, by the way, I just want to point out here, before we get into the news and the feedback and everything, that we do a new entertainment news show called Universe Box that, if you're watching live, is going to go on right at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We'd love for you to stick around. If you stick around, free candy for Halloween. I will pass it to you right through the webcam. Now, on to the news. News. First up, the ratings. Fox's Gotham and Lucifer got a 0.9 each in recording their lowest ratings ever, with the two Fox shows going under 1.0 for the first time. But it was Halloween.
Like, I actually was kind of surprised there was an episode.
Yeah, I actually saw an article today talking about how all of television
was
tanked
down
last night.
Everything was down. There wasn't... Because, well, it's World Series time, literally, like, right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's one right now that I don't care about. But, between that and Halloween and everything, I'm like, come on, guys. We should have had a bye week.
Yeah.
We should have had a bye week.
Well, I'm glad we...
I'm glad we're all here, but, don't renew or cancel based on last night.
Yeah, people will catch up on DVR. It'll be fine. But next week, I'm sure we'll do much better for the episode Blood Rush. And we're going to take a look at the trailer
We're going to look
now
at this together.
For the first time. Harvey walking into a room, tossing badge over to Jim. Jim's back on the force.
I think it was like, you belong to this. We do.
And then we have
I think
more
that was
with
Jervis
and Barnes. And
it was at the court. Oh,
that was some weird zombie guy. There's so much. Barnes throws a guy through a wall.
Isabella looks a little dark and twisty over there. Grundy.
Yeah. And some transformation from Barnes going on.
Oh, and laughing Hatter.
Jervis laughing. Sorry, Bobby, we're not gonna
No.
we're not gonna get rid of Jervis anytime soon, unfortunately. But yeah, that looks really good. I can't wait to watch it with the audio on so YouTube doesn't take us down.
Sorry.
Okay, but there has been some other news out of the world of Gotham here. And first of all, they have cast a character that we've been kind of speculating about since the first season. Mm-hmm. Some people thought it might be Fish Mooney, but it turned...
Some people actually thought it was Fish Mooney.
Yeah, you remember that? There were theories that...
Fish was Selina's mom.
That Fish was Selina's mom. Yes, spoilers, Anne-Marie.
Mom has got it going.
They've cast Selina's mom. It's going to be... Banshee Badass. I'm not sure what Banshee is. It's a show, I guess.
Banshee, yeah.
Ivana Milicevic as Selina's mother. Mm-hmm. Now, there's no indication what episode Selina's mother will be showing up on, but she has been cast, and she will be showing up sooner rather than later. And speaking of characters that are going to be showing up soon, and parents of characters, Corey Michael Smith on Twitter last night, during the live tweet for Gotham, someone asked, when are we going to see something about Enigma's parents? And Corey Michael Smith replied, sooner than you think.
I would say within the next 3 episodes then.
Yeah, so...
I'm still waiting for that David payout on the Jerome returning sooner than we think. Because at this point, I thought he'd be back by now.
Maybe they're referencing the same episode.
Maybe Jerome is Ed's father.
Jerome is Ed's father. You heard it here first, folks. Dun, 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 dun. News. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so now we're going to move on to feedback, which, next week, like we told you, we're going to be recording Tuesday morning. So
you're going to have to do it right after the episode.
While the credits are rolling on Gotham, we want to hear the credits in the background.
In the background?
In the background. We want to hear that in the back of your voicemails. You got to run. You got to run like you're fueled by Red Queen. And email us, legendsofgotham@gmail.com. Tweet us at Legends of Gotham. The Facebook is facebook.com/group/Legends of Gotham. Don't forget to get the cure before an hour passes. And the voicemail number is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352. And as usual, we're going to open up with Bobby. Take it away, Bobby.
Hey guys, it's Bobby. I'm just going to keep this as short and sweet as I can. Okay, first off, I hate the Hatter. I hate the Hatter. I hate the Hatter. Can we move on from the Hatter? I hate the Hatter. I like the Hatter at first because I like the dark vibes he was giving to the show. I really like the Tweedles and everything about that. but oh my God, he's overstayed his welcome. He would be great for a short arc, but I don't like him as a season-long villain. Can we please move on past the Hatter? Okay, Isabella Edward Penguin. I really thought at one point Penguin was just going to offer, but obviously that didn't happen. I liked her character this episode in particular. I liked, with her constantly talking about her love of books. I almost got a strange vibe that maybe she could become a bookworm on this episode, on this show, and that maybe like Riddler and Bookworm could become a couple.
Ooh.
And that could be a cool like Gotham twist.
I like it.
Okay, Bruce. I'm sorry. Don't trust Mario. I don't trust Mario as far as I can throw him. I hated that scene where he was talking to Lee about Gordon, saying, we can't have, we got to keep Gordon out of our lives, dude. Gordon isn't in your lives. You guys are in Gordon's life. Gordon left you guys. Gordon stayed in Gotham. Gordon stayed away. You guys came to Gotham. Lee went back to the precinct. Everything about this is not Gordon's fault. This is on you guys. And that being said, about Mario as well, what was up with the Band-Aid thing at the end of the episode? Why did they linger on his neck with the Band-Aid on there with the ominous music? Did I miss something? If I did, can you guys please shed some light on that? Because I have no clue. Bruce and Kat was great. I loved the whole cute date scene dynamic of it. I loved Alfred giving Bruce advice. Everything about that part of the episode I really loved. And then the dream sequence I didn't quite. Okay, I could sit here and dissect the dream sequence for half an hour, but
like we did.
Okay, Jim or Bruce, when Bruce confronted Jim and was wearing that mask. It looked odd at first, but upon repeat viewing, I saw that the mask was actually Jim's face, like literally digitally imposed Ben McKenzie's face on that mask. I don't know what the symbolism of that was supposed to mean, but I'll leave that for you guys, Bill and Anne-Marie, to dissect. But my favorite part of the episode may be when Jim was talking to Barbara, and Jim says, do you ever wish you were the person you used to be? And then Barbara says, do you? So was she implying, just repeating the question back to him? Or was she saying, do you, Jim, ever wish that Barbara, was the person that I used to be? Because remember, this is all playing out in Jim's head. So, like, if Barbara was the person she used to be, maybe Jim and Barbara would still be together.
Thank you.
So I just felt that choice of line delivery and the choice of wording was odd and worth noting. Then, of course, there was we finally see Gordon's dad. That ring, holds significance, and then we see the shadowy figure from the Court of Owls at the end. Has that ring on, and we're left to believe that maybe this is Gordon's dad, or maybe someone from Gordon's family. Who knows? That being said, I'm ready for the Court of Owls to come on the scene because I can't stand the Hatter anymore. Bring back Yanni Bruce 514A, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
And let's please just move on with the rest of the season. So anyway, as far as the scale goes, out of 447 grains of the Red Queen poison, I'm going to give it 430. Because while I did love the dream sequences, which, obviously was a huge part of this episode, I am just so tired of the Hatter.
And the Hatter's tired of you, Bobby.
Over in the chat room before, Oracle has screamed at us now, blood transfusion. This is about the third time they've typed it in, so I'm pointing it out now. I think they're saying that the Band-Aid was a blood... why would he have given him a blood transfusion of his blood, though?
I'm not sure,
so
but yeah.
Before Oracle, if you could explain your screaming
Context.
of blood transfusion, that would be excellent.
That would be great.
Moving right along.
Okay, we got a letter this week from a kid named Malachi, and this is him. This is Malachi, and he says, "Hi, my name." And I think this is another case of somebody thinking Legends of Gotham is
a part of Gotham.
Is like officially associated with Gotham. We've got these letters before, and we always respond to them because they're so awesome. But he says, "Hi, my name is Malachi Mongrain, and I'd love to act as Clark Kent in Gotham. I'm 15 years old. I am built, and I work out, and I also have brown hair, blue eyes, white skin, Superman hair, and I'm 5'7", the same size as Bruce Wayne." And he sent this picture here, and I just think it would be really cool. We'll have a link to the picture in the show notes at legendsgotham.com for this episode 88. I think it would be really cool. Anyone within the sound of my voice, if you just tweet to @GothamWriters, tweet to @Gotham, that Malachi wants to play Clark Kent on Gotham.
That would be fantastic.
I think if they would just acknowledge that would be so awesome. And I'm going to do it as soon as we publish this episode tonight for sure. And I encourage all of you to do it too. So thanks, Malachi, for writing in. If you listen, you might just think we're Gotham.
You might have just been like, Gotham. Gotham send.
But we would love to see you as Clark Kent on Gotham. Okay, so let's see here. Next up, we have a voicemail from Jacob. Take it away, Jacob.
Hi, Bill and Anne Marie. This
Hi.
is Jacob. I just finished watching The Red Queen, and I really liked this episode. It was great. Have some thoughts. What I liked about it is the date between Bruce and Selina. I thought that was really cute. And I liked Jim Gordon's hallucinations, and that actually I thought the Mad Hatter did him a favor by adding clarity to his life and making Jim realize that he should go back on that he was afraid and should face his fears and go back on the force. Also, what we knew already, that he was still in love with Lee and wanted to have a family with her, and I liked that Valerie realized that and that she ended the relationship. And the little creepy with the Mad Hatter and Alice again, little icky. But I was wondering though,
Jacob, I wrote in my notes, kissing the corpse is gross.
Is between the interesting thing was with Isabel. She's definitely a plant, but is she planted by the Court of Owls or by Butch and Tabitha? I think from the episode, the clue was that she's planted by the Court of Owls, because I like the scene between Catherine and Oswald, and I think they definitely have plans for Oswald, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they are. And Barnes is definitely moving. I don't know what Barnes is becoming, but I like the scene between Barnes and Jervis, where Jervis saw that he was infected with Alice's blood, and Mad Hatter got even madder this week. But all in all, I thought it was a terrific episode. My scale, I guess, would be, I've been thinking about this, maybe chocolate cake. Out of 50 chocolate cake, let's say 49. It was almost perfect.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Looking forward to the podcast. Goodbye.
Excellent. Thank you very much,
Thank you
Jacob.
so much for calling in.
Yeah, and Jacob's from our old neck of the woods up in Georgia. So
Georgia?
Shout out. If we were there, I'd take you out to Gaston's Tavern for a little bite to eat.
A tipple.
A tipple. Okay, let's see here. What was going on in the chat room here? You want to summarize this?
So before Oracle, as we instructed them to, said he's a doctor. Maybe it was the blood transfusion to get the poison out of Jim. But as me and Bobby pointed out, they were giving him the antipsychotics to do that, and it wouldn't make sense for him to do a blood transfusion of his own blood out of his neck anyway, because they were in a hospital. It was a legit situation and blood bank. So there's that. And Rira? I'm not sorry.
Re-area is how I was saying.
Re-area?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not what I would say. I'd say Riri. I was thinking Hatter put some Alice blood in him at some point. I don't know why I would have a Band-Aid for it, but there's that.
Very true.
Okay.
Next up, we have a letter from Carlos. He says, "Hey guys, this is Carlos. I was the guy that forgot to give you his name the first few times that I called.
Good job, Carlos. Good job.
Nice to meet you, Carlos. I'm sorry that I haven't been calling, but I have seen your commentaries on this season of Gotham, and I think you are doing a terrific job at it. Thanks, Carlos.
Thank you.
I hope you and the people on the chat enjoyed your Halloween, and now to actually talking about the show itself. Last night's episode was one of the most interesting ones from a psychological perspective. I love when they do these sorts of things because it is so entertaining to watch. The Mad Hatter is darker than he has ever been, and I know that a lot of things that he has done is typical cliche plots that have been done before, but that doesn't really bother me as long as it keeps me entertained, which it does. I think I don't understand Isabella at all. She was either sent by someone to lure Ed away from Oswald, or she has her own agenda. Could the ring that the court member has mean that Gordon's father was also a member of the Court of Owls? Really enjoying Barbara's performance this episode, but a lingering question remains for me. How are we going to get Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl? Finally looks like Bruce is ready to impress and wants this relationship with Selina to work out. #Batcat.
Woo!
Overall, this season has been very interesting, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here. Sorry that this email is so long, but I wanted to share my thoughts on this. Hope you guys take care of yourself, and until next time, Thanks, Carlos.
Thank you. I have a thing.
I was just going to say real quick, as far as Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl, there's still plenty of time for that. Bruce is still a teenager. I think he'd have to be like 23, 24 before it got worrisome. Go ahead, Anne-Marie.
So I have a thing. When reading that and you said Isabella sent by somebody, maybe Fish sent her to get back at the Ed and the Penguin and the heartbreak and all of that, because Fish has been known to send a decoy love to mess with people.
That's definitely another piece of evidence in the column of my theory from last week about Fish and Strange working together to send her
Right.
over. So,
but I just think that...
Yeah.
I think, just hearing it, I was like, she's done this before.
She has. She totally has.
And he should know that.
When she sent Liza as
Rest in peace,
Mommy
Liza.
Falcone's
Right.
stand-in. Okay.
So, I just had to scream at everyone with that.
You want to read this comment from YouTube?
For sure. Okay, this is from Princess something I can't pronounce starting with a K. I think Chrisabella is definitely a plant. I was thinking about Ed bringing up Butch in this episode, and he is probably with his old gang. True. This was on last week's episode.
Yeah.
It made me think if he has contacted Fish, Mooney, or Strange on behalf of Barbara and Tabitha for either Clayface or a doppelganger for Hugo Strange. So they're teaming up with Barbara, is still aligning herself with Penguin. This gets me to my prediction that Barbara and Tabitha want to knock Oswald and Ed off of the top spot. I can see that. I saw Aaron Richards say Barbara wants more power and that Gotham needs a woman's touch this season, so it made me think that Barbara makes a deal with Jervis for a plan to gain the mayoral position in exchange for information on Jim Gordon this past week's episode. That's amazing.
That could be the reason they made the deal. Yeah, I like that.
Absolutely. So I'm predicting the plan is somewhat similar to what Jervis did to Jim, to lure Ed with Isabella to pretend she is kidnapped by Jervis, to reveal he also has Oswald, and to make Ed choose between them. Oh. I think Barbara will tempt Ed to kill Oswald so he can take the mayoral position, to which he rejects and says he has no interest in running Gotham, since this is something Corey said would come up in a forthcoming episode, and Erin says she has scenes with Ed. Since he's not cooperating, I think Jervis will hypnotize Ed to save his true love. He has to kill the other, very similar to what we saw in the Tea Party. But I think his wording backfires because he doesn't count that Ed loves Oswald, and I see that the big reveal of the feelings are requited rather than them just confessing. So then Ed kills Isabella under hypnosis, although I think it would be in character for Ed to pretend he's hypnotized and figure out the plan, and he makes a conscious choice and saves Oswald. You know what?
I like it.
You, Princess something or another, are very smart.
And we'll wrap up with a theory from Michelle. Michelle says, I have an interesting theory. So last episode was called Follow the White Rabbit, and we saw the White Rabbit symbolize. And next episode's called the Red Queen.
Last night's episode.
So I started thinking, who could be the Red Queen? The only person I can think of is Kringle 2.0. I definitely think she's working with the Mad Hatter, and I do think she's from Indian Hill. And Hugo Strange used the book Alice in Wonderland on her. Mm-hmm. When I was watching the promo for next week's episode, it's clear that the Hatter has a gun pointed at Penguin, so James Gordon is not the only person he's after.
Right.
And also during the promo, he said Queen, and it was when Ed and her were kissing. I feel like this is such a stretch, but I had to email it, and this is my first time emailing, and I absolutely love your show.
And we absolutely love you.
We do, Michelle, definitely. And while the Red Queen was a bit more literal in this episode, I do think that maybe there was a little bit of symbolism there with Kringle, and we'll have to see where that story goes for sure. But as far as where you go next week on Monday night after you get done watching the episode, you need to run to your phone and then use your phone to email us, because it's 2016. legendsofgotham@gmail.com. Tweet us at Legends of Gotham. The Facebook is facebook.com/groups/Legends of Gotham. And the voicemail number is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352. And before Oracle in the chat room says, is Isabella a plant created by Ivy? Dun-dun-dun. But as I said, next week we're going to be recording super early on Tuesday. What's that?
You're talking at double speed.
Am I? Cool. But as I said, next week we are going to be recording at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. somewhere in there,
Somewhere
super
before
early.
noon.
Yeah, so if you're around during the day, check us out live.universebox.com. We want to thank all of our chatters. You guys are awesome, fantastical, and most of you have left. But it's cool. Okay, so Anne-Marie, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at DeSimone. It's right there.
And as for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Bill Meeks. And you can follow all of the podcasts we do at universebox.com, including Universebox, our entertainment news show.
Coming up in 25 minutes.
Coming up in 25 minutes. So if you want to stick around in the chat room,
we'll let you know when to refresh.
We'll let you know when to refresh the page to get the fresh video. So I guess that about does it for this week. So, I think we've done really good work here. Let's get...
So too.
Let's get what's his name, Malachi as Clark Kent on Gotham.
Malachi.
That would be awesome.
We should make a hashtag.
We should a hashtag Malachi Clark Kent Gotham. We'll figure it out.
That is not a good
We're
hashtag.
workshopping it. We'll have it next time on Legends of Gotham.
Legends of Gotham. I wasn't ready there.
You never are.
Yes, I am. Normally,
You
I'm
are
good at it.
usu- you are
You
usually
threw me
ready.
off with the Think Outside and the Legends of Gotham.
Man, we're only going to have a couple people to vote on titles.
That's okay.
Insanity! Daddy issues.
Birds of a feather. Birds of a feather. Actually, I think this is a Spiro.
It's a Sparrow?
I think it's a heavily painted Spiro.
Cool. So we have a few episode titles here. We have... host split screen? No, that's not what I wanted.
What is that?
That is actually the name of the scene that we're using
Oh.
in OBS.
Excellent.
Okay, so we have, let's see here, we have Fear and Loathing in Gotham City, Deconstructing Jim Gordon, Vertigo, Love in an Elevator, and Birds of a Feather.
Well, it's me, you, and Bobby. So
It's me, you, and Bobby, so
I actually like Deconstructing Jim Gordon.
me too.
So there we go. Bobby doesn't really matter.
Okay, Bobby, you don't matter. Please join
Bobby, you do matter. We'll see you
do
in
matter.
20 minutes.
Yeah, hopefully.